ચાર કીધું था, ચાર ટિફિન કીધું था તમે देखें ना ट्री हम
Good afternoon, everyone. Now we shall start our technical session 2. Hello, hello. Now I would like to request Honorable Noida ma'am to come up the stage and take her chair. Thank you very much, ma'am. Now I would request our HOD sir to felicitate our chairperson. Thank you, Akili sir. Thank you, ma'am. It is our privilege to have on today, ma'am. Ballab, bring two chair to the stage. Two chair. Chair. Now, I would like to welcome all the presenters and all are requested to come on the stage. The first one, Lakshmi Priya Acharya ma'am. Second, Madhuri Mishra ma'am. Third, Mahisar Ishan sir. Swagitika Das ma'am. I think Swagitika Das ma'am had presented our paper yesterday. Next, Namrata Das ma'am and Shri Sumudita Pradhan sir and class Mrs. Vici Mr. Karma ma'am. Please come on the stage ma'am and take your chair. Kiranwala Mishra ma'am, please come off the stage. Now I would request Kiranwala Mishra ma'am to come and present paper for me.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Kiranwala Mishra, currently working as a lecturer at Grants College, Qatar, and pursuing PhD from Ravenshaw University, Qatar. I want to sincerely thank to the organizer for giving me this opportunity to speak, to present my paper on Indian literature. So my paper entitled Hope in So this statement by S.T. Corey is taken by Kamala Markandeya in her novel, which is the basis of my discussion today. I am going to discuss today. So the true essence of Indian literature lies in its profound depiction of the social evolution and the cultural echoes attached to Indian society. The societal concerns like casteism, discrimination, patriarchal pressures, and many more, which have been shown by the many authors of Indian literary canon. So, beginning from Torudar to Karnelia Sorabji, Rabindranath Tagore, Anita Desai, Anita Nair, and also Amrita Pritam, they all have shown a unique perspective of women oppression and subjugation. So, Kamala Markandeya, as a social visionary who had a significant knowledge on both Western and Indian way of life, which can be seen through her novels, and particularly in this novel, Nectar in a Sea. The women's figure in Nectar in a Sea are caught between different societal circumstances, like whether to fulfill those societal demands and expectations, or to follow their inner voice in order to defy these constraints. So, my paper thus seeks to explore their stoic resilience against their oppressive surroundings in terms of gender disparity, and also the artificial and the natural calamities they actually withstand in their life. Coming to the next point, the key themes of the novel, the gender disparity, which gets seen through the women characters like Rukmani and Hirawari, who have been shown fighting against their oppressive surroundings throughout their life. As societal beings, they are expected to behave like their gender, like the feminine and masculine attributes they are given in the society. Drawing the theory of Judith Butler, gender performativity here, that Judith Butler associates gender with the word performance. That means the identity, the gender itself depends upon our condition, our outer condition. It is conditioned with our outer action and activities, and it becomes stable the way we practice it repeatedly. So in this sense, both Hirawari and Rukmani has to follow the societal demands. As being a woman, they have to get married at an early age, being a woman. Coming to the next point, women's subjugation in terms of their reproductive function. As society has already assigned respective spheres to man and woman. Men are in the charge of handling the public sphere and the outside charge, and women are enclosed within the four walls of domestic sphere. And their role is very limited, just like a caregiver and nurturer and nothing else. But in this novel, Hirawari, the daughter of Rukmani, can be seen that she was abandoned by her husband because of her infertility, and we know that woman's birth is counted in terms of her reproductive functions. So, as long as she is capable of as a childbearing machine, she would be valued in the society. But Hirawari and also Rukmani protested against this gender stereotype, and they represent not only their reproductive function along with their productive capacities. Likewise, Rukmani raised her own vegetable gardens in this novel, which can be very helpful during the economic hardship that families succumb into. Coming to the next point, I have also used the theory of intersectionality. The theory of intersectionality is easily coined by the critic Kimberly Crenshaw in order to design for the black woman experiences. But it was later spread through many factors like socio-economic and cultural factors. It shows that different societal identities or factors like gender, caste, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, infertility, and many other factors actually aggravate women's oppression in many ways. Like in the case of this novel, Hirawari point, nectarine also shows the hypocrisy of societal prejudice that the level of liberty man and woman enjoy in their life. On the one hand, Rukmani as a mother and a wife, she always thinks for her family, and in this way, she takes the help of modern treatment in order to raise more children. But on the other hand, her husband, Nathan, can have extramarital affair and father two sons with other women. So this is the societal hypocrisy that can be seen through this novel. On the one hand, Irabari is abandoned for her infertility because she cannot give a suitable child to his husband. She is abandoned, left, astray. But on the other hand, Irabari's husband can easily abandon her and can easily get remarried for the next moment. So this woman's characters in this novel not only show their stoic resilience against the natural calamities like in the form of famine and many more, but also the artificial pressures, gender stereotype and gender disparity in this novel by showing their different qualities like adjustability, adaptability, and self-abnegating nature. This shows that which establishes them as a epitome of strength and optimism. This is all about my paper. Thank you for your valuable time and attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ma'am. Now I would request Lakshmi Priya Asira ma'am to come and present.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Lakshmi Priya Acharya, a faculty member in the Department of Sociology, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Government College, Sambalpur. It is an honor to present my paper on intersectionality in Indian literary representation, a sociological perspective, at this international conference. Through this paper, I aim to explore how literature reflects the overlapping identities of caste, class, gender, religion, shaping social experiences in India. Now let's begin by addressing some key questions that form the foundation of this discussion. So basically the first question arises, what does the term intersectionality mean? Intersectionality is a concept that explains how different aspects of a person's identity such as caste, class, gender, religion, ethnicity, region overlap and create unique experiences of privilege or oppression. The term was introduced by Kimberly P. Crunch in 1989 to describe how black women in the US face discrimination not just because of their race or gender alone, but due to the combination of both. This idea can be applied to the Indian context to understand how multiple social identities interact to shape individuals' experience. For example, a Dalit woman faces discrimination due to both her caste and gender. Another example is a tribal girl in India may struggle with cultural marginalization, gender bias, and economic hardship. Thus, the intersectionality helps us to move beyond single category analysis like only caste or only gender and focus on how multiple factors shape one's reality. So the next question arises, how can we define intersectionality in Indian literary representations? Indian literature across different languages and genres have long described the realities of caste, class, gender, religion, and ethnicity. By analyzing these literary works through an intersectional lens, we can see how multiple layers of discrimination and identity affect individuals. For example, Bama's Karku, a Dalit Christian woman autobiography that highlights caste and gender-based oppression. Varamula Murugan's One Part Woman explores societal pressure on a childless woman, intersecting gender and cultural norms. Another example based on caste and class is Mool Raj Anand's Untouchable, a Dalit boy's struggle against caste-based and economic oppression. Another example is Arundhati Roy's The God of Small Things, shows how caste and class intersect in relationships and social mobility. On the basis of religion and gender, Ruqayya Sekhawat Hussein's Sultan's Dream, a feminist utopian vision where women challenge religious patriarchy. Quarantine Haider's River of Fire examines how religion, gender and history shape individual identities. So tribal identity and gender, Maheshwara Devi's Draupadi, a tribal woman's struggle against the state oppression and sexual violence. So next example based on Gopinath Mohanty's Poraja explores how tribal community face exploitation and gender-based struggles. These works show that no identity exists in isolation. A woman's struggle cannot be understood without considering her caste, class, or religion, just as a Dalit man's experiences cannot be explained only through the lens of caste. So the third question is, how can I describe intersectionality from a sociological perspective? Sociology helps us to understand how society conducts social hierarchies and how power dynamics operate. So when we look at intersectionality through a sociological lens, we focus on social structure, power relations and institutional discrimination. So key sociological perspectives on intersectionality in literature is structural inequality. Literature reflects how caste, class and gender hierarchies are embedded in Indian society. For example, Dalit autobiography shows how social structure prevent upward mobility. So the second thing is patriarchy and gender norms. Women, especially from marginalized backgrounds, face double or triple oppression on the basis of gender, caste or class. For example, tribal women in Maheshwara Devi's work fight both patriarchy and state oppression. The third one is economic exploitation and marginalization. Many literary works highlight how capitalism and caste intersect to keep marginalized community in poverty. For example, Anand's Untouchable shows how Dalits are restricted to low-paying and degrading jobs. The fourth one is religious and ethnic discrimination. Literature shows how religious minorities experience exclusion in society. For example, River of Fire explores the impact of petition on religious identity. By applying intersectionality as a sociological framework, we can move beyond single-axis explanation, just caste or gender, and understand how multiple oppressions overlap the shape people's lived experiences. By addressing these three key questions, we see that intersectionality explains how multiple identities create unique forms of discrimination. Indian literature offers a rich source of examples where caste, class, gender, religion intersect. A sociological perspective helps us analyze how power relations, structural inequalities, and cultural narratives more deeply. Thus, intersectionality in Indian literary representation is not just a theme, it is a critical tool to understand how real-life operation operates in society. Literature as a social mirror allows us to explore these complexities and push for more inclusive justice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Priyami. Now, I would like to request Madhuri Mr. Madhuri Mr. present. I think she is absent. Then I will like to request Maheshwar Kisan sir to come and present newspaper.
Good afternoon to everyone, esteemed chair and moderator. Respected participants and all. I am Maheshwar Kisan, Assistant Professor of English, Holycoat University, Parampur, and I am employed I am deployed as principal of Government Degree College, Kasipur, Raigada, and I am also a research student. The topic of my paper is deterioration and disintegration of family in Sambalpur's buried child and Arkenarans, the vendor of sweets. This paper focuses on family issues. In my paper, there is introduction, and in the first part of the introduction, the meaning and origin of family is described. Like the term family originates from the Latin word familia, which initially referred to as a household that included not only relatives but also servants and slaves. Over time, its meaning evolved to signify a group of people bound by kinship and shared obligation. Among all human social structures, the family holds a uniquely significant position as the most fundamental primary group. It serves as the cornerstone of society, playing a critical role in shaping individuals' development, values, and social interaction. This way, the first part of the introduction discusses the origin and meaning of family. The second part of my introduction is historical perspective of family, then sociological and psychological dimensions of family. Then the other part is the universal relevance of family. After all, why I have chosen family issues is, as my topic is that family is between individual and the social. That much study has been done on the issues of individual and social issues. But I think less study or limited study has been studied, limited study has been done on family. Family plays a crucial role in shaping individuals and the society. And in Sambalpur's buried child and Arkenarans, the vendor of sweets. Okay, the play of Sambalpur and the novel of Arkenarans, they have not attracted the researchers of English, particularly. That's why my study focuses on English. The research objective of this paper is to examine Sambalpur's buried child with a particular focus on the themes of lewd relationships and infanticide within a family. The second point, to explore the theme of emotional barrenness and its perpetuation across generations in the American family as well as Indian family. My third objective is to analyze the factors like absence of moral or family values, emotional connection and sense of belonging, leads to loneliness, enmity, distrust that contribute to the deterioration of family. In particular, American family as well as Indian family. My last point is that the objective of this paper, research paper is to explore Arkenarans, the vendor of sweets, with focus on the theme of cultural conflict that induces disintegration of a family. How it causes the disintegration of a family. I have taken two myth statements, the buried child and the other one is the vendor of souls. The first one is the present study, yes. Then methodology. The present study employs the textual analysis of Sam Shepard's and the novel of Athena, with a special attention on the thematic interpretation, the plot and character study, and the examination of dialogue. After all, I have taken two good stories, Buried Child and another one is the Vendor of Sweets. The first one, Buried Child tells a family story of incest and infanticide, and in the myth, George is the husband of Ellie. They belong to a well-established family. They have a big dairy farm. It produces enough milk. Everything is well settled. In the meantime, Ellie gets pregnant. Suspicion arises in the mind of Dodge. They have not slept in the same bed for 6 years. Ellie gives birth to a male baby. The child wants to grow in the family. Dodge gets upset. He picks up the child, he kills the child, he drowns it, he buries it. The play is entitled Buried Child. Even the elder son of the family reveals the crime. What he said? He reveals the crime to Sally. Means his son's girlfriend. What he said? He said, I had a son once but buried him. Who buried him? His father buried him. It means in the myth, what tells a story of what's that? A story of lived relationship between mother and son. And son, yes, mother here gives birth to a baby. Means you see what loss of morality in American family. And it leads to family stagnation and ultimately results in disintegration of a family. It means this is not a family, it means the microcosm of all families in America. This is the situation, this is the standard or the status of American family. On to the second myth, the vendor of sweets tells a family story of cultural conflict. What cultural conflict means? Indian culture and the Western culture, there is conflict. You know, you are aware of this novel. Jack Jogan is the main character and he is the house. Yes. Jogan, you know that a true Gandhian, he earns his livelihood by running a sweet stall with 4 workers. He gets his son admitted in a college. He wants him to be a clerk. But Mali, you know, Mali, son of Jagan, has no interest in college education. Mali leaves college to write novels. But Jagan waits for his novel, but no novel he produces. The gap between father and son widens. They do not talk to each other for years. he produces no novel, he goes to America to study creative writing. Oh, Mali. But in May, he comes back with a girl named Grace. He stays in live-in relationship with the girl, denying marriage. He involves in Western lifestyle, good habits. He is put under arrest then and sent to jail in connection with a case of alcohol. Jogan leaves home devoid of family life. Grace goes away to do a job somewhere else. In this way, they are family also disintegrates because of the influence or the effect of Western culture. Who involves means Mali. Mali is very much influenced, and that's he goes in wrong way. He takes alcohol, means he uses or follows Western code habit, lifestyle, etc. Means he follows living relationship. It means without marriage and family and other duties sacrificed to family. Isn't it that what happens at last? Ultimately, he is arrested and sent to jail. In this way, Miss Jogan's family also. Yes, I just read out the conclusion. A family serves as the fundamental unit of society, acting as a nursery and training ground for children, where they learn love, affection, duty, and sacrifice. These values enable families to thrive and perpetuate harmonious relationships across generations. However, the absence of moral values, emotional connection, and a sense of belonging leads to familial disintegration, distrust, enmity, and emotional barrenness among family members, contribute to the erosion of familial bonds and the eventual collapse of the family. The analysis of buried child and the vendor of sweets reveal the extent of sociological erosion within the American and Indian family, highlighting themes of dysfunction, generational trauma, and the disintegration of moral values. The play and the novel underscore the collapse of the American dream, portraying families as the fragmented and burdened by loneliness, frustration, and unresolved tension. Sam Shepard's and Arken Aryan's depiction of these issues offer a stark reflection of societal changes and their impact on the family. This is my paper, and thank you all for listening.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would request Namrata Das ma'am, please come and handle your paper.
Thank you for having me here, esteemed chairperson and fellow delegates. A very warm good afternoon to one and all. So, sir, focused light on family and the importance of family in Arcane Alliance Vendors of Sweet. So my topic is about the cultural disintegration and generational divide in vendor of sweets. So I am Namrata Dash, and I am a public speaking and creative writing expert, but I would also like to share some of my views on this topic. Yeah. So, Arcane Alliance, the vendor of sweets, serves as a compelling exploration of cultural disintegration and generational divide within the framework of post-colonial India. So, set in the fictional town of Malgudi, the novel examines tension between tradition and modernity. embodying the larger cultural conflict faced by our nation transitioning from colonial subjugation to independence. So the protagonist, who is Jagan, a staunchly traditional sweets vendor and follower of Gandhian values, represents the ethos of a pre-independence India, rooted in spirituality, self-reliance, and moral discipline. So, in contrast, his son Mali epitomizes the allure of Western modernity and materialism, rejecting his father's values in favor of a more individualistic and globalized identity. So this paper analyzes how post-colonial themes such as cultural hybridity, identity crisis, and generational alienation are intricately woven into a narrative. Mali's adoption of Western ideas and his disdain of his heritage highlight the erosion of traditional values under the influence of colonial modernity. So the father-son conflict becomes a microcosm of India's struggle to reconcile its ancient traditions with the pressures of modernization and globalization. Furthermore, the paper delves into the concept of mimicry as Mali's attempt to emulate Western culture underscores a deeper identity crisis, reflecting Homi Bhabha's theories on colonial discourse. Through its nuanced portrayal of personal and cultural conflict, the vendor of sweets interrogates the impact of colonial legacies on post-colonial societies. So the novel ultimately underscores the fragmentation of identity and values in a society caught between the forces of tradition and change. By situating the generational divide within the broader context of post-colonialism, this paper seeks to unravel the intricate interplay between cultural disintegration, identity formation, and the enduring influence of colonialism on contemporary India. Okay, so let me just throw some light into the differences between the main character Jagan, who is the father, and Mali. And the difference is very thick. So, Narayan's deliberate creation of Malgudi as a microcosm of India serves to highlight the pervasive impact of colonization on the lives of younger generation. This fictional town becomes a platform where middle-class families encounter the modern world and grapple with East-West conflict. The vigorous influence of British ideologies is evident in the lives of his characters. So through the story of Jagan, a traditional sweets vendor deeply rooted in Gandhian values, and his son Mali, who embraces Western modernity and materialism, Narayan dramatizes the cultural and generational rift characteristic of post-colonial India. Jagan's adherence to traditional Indian philosophy clashes with Mali's fascination with Western ideals, encapsulating the broader tensions between tradition and modernity. Narayan's portrayal of this conflict underscores the erosion of traditional values under the influence of colonial modernity, while also questioning the feasibility of cultural coexistence and integration. So Narayan's theme of Narayan's treatment of post-colonial themes in the vendor of sweets reflects a nuanced understanding of the cultural and psychological effects of colonialism. His ability to address complex issues such as mimicry, cultural hybridity, and identity crisis aligns with the theoretical framework of post-colonial thinkers like Homi Bhabha. Mali's attempt to emulate Western culture exemplifies Bhabha's concept of mimicry, revealing the inherent tensions and identity conflicts in post-colonial societies. So Narayan's subtle yet incisive critique of post-colonial legacies situates him as an important voice in post-colonial literature. Okay, so it is about Homi Bhabha's theory, who is a post-colonial theorist. He made significant contributions through the book The Location of Culture, 1994. Bhabha emphasizes the concept of hybridity, arguing that all cultures are interconnected and cannot exist in isolation. His concept of mimicry further examines the westernization of native cultures, wherein native societies imitate Western practices without realizing the cultural erosion that causes. According to Bhabha, post-colonial literature often features themes of resistance, subversion, and reconstruction, showcasing the colonized attempt to reclaim their identity and resist colonial ideologies. So, Jagan embodies the Gandhian ideals of simplicity, self-reliance, and spirituality. He adheres to traditional Indian values, living a life dictated by discipline and a sense of duty. Jagan's commitment to Gandhian principles is evident in his daily habits, such as eating natural foods, wearing khadi, and reading Bhagavad Gita. Whereas Mali, who is the son of Jagan, Mali's worldview, shaped by his education and exposure to Western ideas, contrasts sharply with his father's. Mali's desire to pursue a career as a writer and his plan to manufacture a novel writing machine illustrate his rejection of the traditional path expected by his family and community. In a letter to his father, Mali unabashedly declares that after 3 years' experience of America, I have taken to eating beef, and I don't think I am worse for it. This bland disregard for one of the most sacred tenets of Hinduism shocks Jagan and serves as a metaphor for the broader cultural disintegration occurring in post-colonial India. So, R.K. Narayan's The Vendor of Sweet masterfully encapsulates the tensions inherent in post-colonial India, post-colonial societies, through its exploration of generational conflict and cultural disintegration. The novel portrays the ideological divide between Jagan, a representative of traditional Indian values rooted in spirituality, simplicity, and Gandhian ideals, and his son Mali, who embraces Western modernity, materialism, and individualism. This generation conflict set against the backdrop of Malgudi as a microcosm of post-colonial India reflects the broader cultural clash faced by a nation grappling with legacy of colonial India. The narrative also highlights the disorientation and hybridity that arise from cultural encounters, Mali's rejection of his heritage and blind mimicry of Western ways underscores the identity crisis that post-colonial theorists like Homi Bhabha and Edward Said have identified as central to post-colonial literature. Jagat's inability to understand his son's choices symbolizes the alienation of the older generation in a rapidly modernizing world. Yet, Narayan avoids one-sided moral judgments, presenting both the allure and the pitfalls of modernity and tradition. Ultimately, the vendor of sweets illustrates how post-colonial literature often wrestles with themes of cultural erosion, the struggle for self-definition, and the reconciliation of past with present. The novel's resolution with Jagan choosing spiritual renunciation and self-reflection suggests that finding harmony may lie in embracing timeless values while adapting to inevitable change. Narayan's work transcends its local context, pose universal questions about identity, cultural continuity, and the human quest for meaning in an evolving world. Thus, the novel stands as a poignant exploration of generational conflict and a profound commentary on the complexities of post-colonial existence. So, this was what I had to say about my topic, cultural disintegration and generational divide, in R.K. Narayan's method also. Thank you for hearing.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would request our chairperson, ma'am, to share his views in this session.
A warm afternoon to one and everyone present here under this program of the 2 days program of the International Conference organized by NSCB College. I extend first of all my heartfelt thanks to Hariyar sir for giving me a chance to share the session of today's. Firstly, I extend my heartfelt thanks to all the paper presentations who presented before you all their insightful presentation and their very exploration and the deliberation on the topic which they have all presented. And one of all, the most important thing that is the way in which they express their thoughts, their presentation in their papers. The most appreciating one is the first in which Kirandana Mishra presented one thing about the role that is the woman and the struggle that they still go on. One thing I want to present here, that is we all are in the 21st century, but still, in spite of our position, we still have to fight for the dignity and our proper place. In spite of all the observations, in spite of all the efforts, in spite of all the very steps taken by our government, still we remain as the most oppressed class. And why we should struggle now, taking all the societal stigmas. So it is the paper in which I found and we see presented through the very story of Kamala Markandeya elected in the same, and the very effort and the struggle by the mother and the child to preserve their own position. So, in spite of all these things, we should march forward in order to get a position in this society, and it is very welcoming for. So, I once again congratulate you for your very thought-provoking paper. And the next is that Maheshwar Kishan sir presented here by contrasting the Western family culture and the Indian family culture. Undoubtedly, sir, your paper is really praiseworthy because whatever things that we have to achieve, family obviously and absolutely plays a very significant and also a very valuable role in life of everyone, and sticking to the moral and ethical values we can achieve and prosper in this society. And all the other Ramata Kaur madam and Kiran Mishra, I am very thankful and have high appreciation for your very deep story for your paper. So this 2 days program obviously must have helped all the participants to explore, and also as the topic is remaking Indianness, reflection on society, culture and religion in Indian writing. So one thing I want to add up before I sum up everything, the Indianness means that is the flavor that the Indian writers in English must carry forward with the quality, with a sense of identity and a belongingness, so that we can stand up and sign as the writers and establish a position in this particular world of literature. Thank you all, and thanks for giving me a chance to chair the session.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Scholars and sirs are requested if they have any question, then they may.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Pitambar from Government Women's College, Sambalpur. No doubt the papers were excellent, but I would like to give my observations and a few technical details. So, for example, in the first paper presented on Markandeya's nectar, the methodological framework that has been taken is Julian Butler's gender performativity. And there also intersectionality has been mentioned, where I did not find any excerpts from the book. From the book, there should have been some excerpts, because if you are hypothesizing anything, if you have research questions, you need to provide the proofs. And if you have gone through the book, then probably you must be having different instances or excerpts from the book. The second one, that is presented by Lakshmi Priya. It was intersectionality in Indian literature. And I find this particular paper quite sketchy, because here there were different instances of the text, like for example, Lama's Karam, Mulkraj Anand's untouchability, then Hussein Sultan's tree, A. Roy's and of small things, he got a small thing, sorry. Then Gopinath Mohanty's Paraja, where she has mentioned about power dynamics, and while mentioning power and dynamics, she has not mentioned about Michel Foucault's power dynamic theory. So far as Dalit autobiography is concerned, she has not mentioned even how individual instances of, for example, discrimination has been carried forward to universal aspects of it. So it seemed like a literature review to me, and it also lacks analysis. Moving on, in the next one, that is presented by Maheshwar sir. Maheshwar Kishan sir is my teacher from GM. He has talked about vendor of sweets, where he has mentioned that he has taken the methodological framework, where he has just done textual analysis, where I lacked research framework. So here in this paper, probably we could incorporate memory and trauma, because here we do not find any methodological framework adopted by him. So far as Namrata Ras's paper is concerned, that is cultural discrimination in vendor of sweets. There, post-colonial framework has been used, but there is no specific instance or a framework or model that has been applied. She has mentioned almost every aspects of post-colonial theory, like Homi Bhabha's, for example, Homi Bhabha's theory, to mimicry, to, for example, other aspects of post-colonial theory, but you need to stick to a particular model and apply, you see, that particular model to your paper. And overall, I would like to say that whenever you are presenting any paper, whenever you have any hypothesis, you need to prove your hypothesis by providing real text or textual examples from the text. When you are presenting a paper, you need to go through the book. Otherwise, there is no relevance of, you see, talking about all these things. So you don't have to make your paper sketchy. Rather, it should be more textually analyzable and intuitive.
Thank you, sir, for your insight and some views on papers by the presenters. Ma'am, would you say something regarding this? Thank you, ma'am. Any question from? Yes, counsel. Yes, yes.
Hello. Thank you very much. You all have presented a very nice and skeptical paper, I guess. The two lecturers, Lakshmi Priya madam and one more is Kiran Bala madam. I have a question for both of you. That ever since we are talking about discrimination, what I feel is there are gender discrimination in the society in the present day context. Will you be able to tell me or give me some certain instances where the gender discrimination lies in present day society? Or if you are talking about the novels itself, and what I got is 1954 novels, Marshall I guess, it was written in, and you have been quoting 1954 novel. But today we are living in 2024, the generation gap has been there, right? Okay. My question is, does caste abolish a woman? That is my first question. If not, is gender discrimination is there, and what is the prime cause of it? Either you can answer, or you can answer. Thank you.
Ma'am.
Thank you for your question. Your question was that either in today's society, women are still oppressed in terms of gender discrimination or in terms of casteism. It's truly significant, and today also there are some women who are not getting proper education because of their caste and their societal status. So likewise, in this novel itself that I have taken, Kamala Margaret and actor in the sea, both women characters like Rukmani and daughter Iravadi, both have gone through that societal pressures, and they are the victims of their expectation because of their gender. And to add this point, I have used that theory of intersectionality to show that it is still prominent in our society, because intersectionality shows that there are different operation, there are different ways of operation and different multiple identities which cannot be studied in isolation. That actually aggravates together and aggravates the operation of women. In the case of Rukmani and Iravadi, they both have the victims, like for Iravadi's case, it is her infertility, and being as a woman, she has to face all those societal pressure and societal oppression. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Sir? Thank you very much, Professor Pradhan, who have been attended with us in this international conference. Thank you all the paper presenters and the audience, madam and sirs, for your kind attention and patience. Now we shall close this session and we shall go for our lunch. And the presenters are requested to remain present at our valedictory session. We shall provide you your certificate. So stay connected with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.